Domestic violence, we know, is a very serious issue. In some cases, a criminal offense. Well, now courts in one town are taking things further by issuing a fine for not pressing charges. Domestic violence is a crime that is frustratingly difficult to prosecute. A federal lawsuit has been filed in Columbus, Georgia, over the court's ability to fine victims of domestic abuse who refuse to press charges. Victims are often scared to testify against their abuser in court. And this fear may be why 80 to 90% of the time, victims of domestic violence actually recant their original statements, making it harder for law enforcement to jail these offenders. Does a policy like this do anything to help victims of domestic violence? Or will it discourage victims from reporting abuse entirely? Well, this lawsuit stems from an abuse case last June. A woman called 911 after her boyfriend allegedly punched and choked her. She escaped. The boyfriend was arrested, charged with assault, and the woman confirmed the details but refused to help prosecute. The judge imposed a $150 fine, but was then, I guess she was told she would be arrested if she didn't pay it within 1 week. So that's a concrete example of how this would be enacted. My question for you, Ariva, is if there are predators out there and people committing acts of domestic violence and they're not getting punished for it, it's obviously hard to prevent them from doing so again in the future. How do we, as a society, how do we do better?
Well, first we change the culture, and we don't penalize the victim, which is what this law does. It's talking about incarcerating the person because they won't come forward and then fining them. What we know is that women are often afraid, and if they do testify, they fear retaliation. They fear being subjected to further violence from that individual. So we have to make the court system and the judicial system such that women feel safe, that if they do come forward and tell their story, first of all, they won't be victim shamed, and then second of all, they'll feel safe going back into their environment. We know the problems women have, even getting restraining orders. Sometimes it's so difficult. And if you're afraid of someone and they've already attacked you, you're not going to want to come forward and tell that story because you can't get, or you feel like you can't get the protection you need from the courts or your community.
And if the one that's the victim of abuse, if they don't testify, the state loses their case, don't they?
Well, not always, but this process of victimizing the victim further is ridiculous, and thank goodness that this victims' rights group stepped in, Travis, and filed a federal lawsuit challenging this law. So thank God that there are these
Southern
victims'
Center for
rights
Human
groups
Rights
out there.
then came in and said, look, you guys can't do this to your victims. And the sad thing here to me is that for a criminal prosecution to work, you should really be in partnership with the victim. The fact that this creates an adversarial relationship, I just don't know how this is ever going to end well. Someone who abuses another human being deserves to be in jail. That's my humble opinion.
And the victim needs to be protected. So
100%
lock up the perpetrator and protect and give power to the victims. That's what we want to do.